Bears 17-3 last Sunday. And today's our first chance to see with our eyes the 2010 version of the Northwestern women's lacrosse team.
Yeah, the Wildcats unanimously ranked #1 before the season and have played up to those expectations so far early on in the young season. They have a lot of work to do as far as players to replace, losing some great players in Hannah Nielsen, Hillary Bowen, their goalie Morgan Lathrop, among others. How do you see the Wildcats being able to replace some of those essentially irreplaceable players that they lost last season?
Well, Andrew, Kelly Monte-Hiller, the head coach, she doesn't rebuild, she reloads. She's a tremendous recruiter, and this year will be exciting to see some of those younger players step up. But they do return their 2 top goal scorers from last year in seniors.
Cross-conference Northwestern's conference as well. Georgetown, a team that's been on the rise under head coach Ricky Freed. Last year made the NCAA tournament, made the quarterfinals, went to the Big East championship game. And it's a team that returns some very solid players as well. And it's going to be a tough task for this Northwestern lacrosse team to here in Evanston.
They definitely returns their top scorer, Molly Ford, a senior. But we talked about they've lost some of their defense from last year, so they have holes to fill. But last year when these two teams met in D.C. at Georgetown, Northwestern won 15-4, got to a quick lead there. So we'll see what happens today.
The Wildcats lead the all-time series against Georgetown 3-0. You mentioned the game last year, 15-4 in Georgetown. Actually, 2 years ago in 2008, it was a 7-6 victory for Northwestern here at Lakeside Field. So Georgetown has, under Ricky Freed, had some success against Northwestern. And then before 2008, the last time they played was back in 1989 when Northwestern won 12-1.
You mentioned that close game, that 7-6 game, but Northwestern will look to continue some very impressive streaks today. They'll look to make it 33 in a row on the Lakeside here at home. Look to send, 54 in a row at home and 33 in a row overall if they win today. So some streaks on the line, but we said this team is a powerhouse. They have 5 national championships, Andrew, so we're excited to see them first time today.
One of the other interesting storylines with this Northwestern squad this season is replacing Morgan Lathrop between the pipes. Northwestern has 2 goalies in Brianne Lamonto and Darby St. Clair Barrie, who have been fighting all offseason to try and get the chance to start in goal. And it's been Brianne Lamonto starting for most of the 3 games and getting most of the playing time in the first 3 games of the season. How do you see the goalie battle playing out and Northwestern's defense in general?
When I asked Kelly about the competition, her response was, well, competition is everything in life. So she likes the 2 goaltenders pushing each other to perform even better. But at the same token, Kelly has talked about how her defense, they return the core of their defense with seniors Maggie Bremer and Sarah Harrington. So while it's a new girl between the pipes, the defense is veteran and experienced. So she expects the team to build off that.
Kelly Monte-Hiller, the head coach for the Wildcats in her 9th season here in Evanston, building this Northwestern program from scratch after it was scrapped in the 90s, reinstated in the early 2000s, and she has obviously built it into a powerhouse. 5 straight national championships for Northwestern. On the other side, Ricky Freed, the head coach for Georgetown in his 5th season, 49-24 overall, and was recently named as the U.S. women's national coach, and a couple of Wildcats on that team as well.
That's right, Andrew. A few names, Katrina Dow, the senior, and then 3 of NU's very talented sophomores, Lacey Bigmestad, Shannon Smith, and Alex Finger, also on that roster. So they have some familiarity with their opposing coaches there.
Starting lineups being announced right now for Northwestern. Also this week announced the Tewaaraton Award watch list. And Northwestern has had a monopoly on the most valuable player essentially in women's college lacrosse the last couple of years.
Lacrosse's version of the Heisman.
Exactly. Hannah Nielsen won it the last couple of years. Before her, Kristen Shellman. Northwestern has 5 players on that list. Georgetown has 3. Of those 8 players named, 2 are some of the big contenders for the award at the end of the year.
Well, I'd say the 2 biggest ones from the Wildcats. I'll look to the seniors in Danielle Spencer and Katrina Dowd. Katrina Dowd last year had a breakout year after NU's prolific scorer Hillary Bowen went down. Katrina Dowd finished year with 76 goals, so she'll look to build off that this year. And also Spencer, with her size at 6'2", is one of the hardest shots in the game, is always a threat.
We'll pause right now for the national anthem. Opening draw coming up right after this on the Big Ten Network. Danielle Spencer and Ashby Kasner at midfield to take the opening draw between #1 Northwestern and #5 Georgetown. Here in Evanston at the Lakeside Field, we are underway. Danielle Spencer wins the draw to herself as the Wildcats move left to right. Katrina Dowd has it on the far sideline. She is the senior experienced offensive player. She moves into the fan. Now the 8-meter has it knocked away, and a whistle is called inside the 8-meter arc as Katrina Dowd hit the deck.
I think she lost her shoe there, too.
Yeah, she's going to have to tie that up before we get started. I believe it's going to be a free position shot for Katrina Dowd. So she'll have an unimpeded shot starting outside the 8-meter arc, which is the yellow line that is outside of the crease. So Dowd will have a shot from the far side of the 8-meter arc, one-on-one with Caitlin Formby when they blow it in. Dowd moves in, takes a shot, misses wide, but it's backed up by the Wildcats. Jessica Russo keeps possession with Northwestern. In women's lacrosse, when it goes out of bounds past the end line on a shot, the player closest to it can't keep possession. As Spencer moves in front of the crease, she takes a shot. Her shot is blocked away by Formby. Northwestern trying to keep possession inside. A whistle is called, and the Wildcats will keep possession as a foul on Georgetown.
They're getting chances early. Katrina Dowd being aggressive off the draw control there, but Cats not able to put away the first 2 shots.
Off the foul, Russo will have it outside of the fan. She'll move in, send it to Spencer, far corner. Now it goes behind the net to Dowd. And Dowd to Shannon Smith. Shannon Smith started out the season hot as well. Brooke Matthews near side. Now it's Lacey Vigmestad, who's moved up to midfield this season for the Wildcats after playing a more defensive role last season. Matthews, the junior, in midfield. Now it's Vigmestad again, moving into the fan. Looking for someone to pass to. She darts back out and gets it to Russo. Wildcats very content to pass it around.
This team knows when to be patient, look for the best shot. They will move the ball around plenty. Kelly's got plenty of plays in her playbook, so this team will move the ball around a lot and look for the best shot.
As Spencer has it, top of the fan with a right-handed cradle moving in. She'll send it back behind the net to Dowd. Dowd moving right. Cuts back to the left side. And looking for someone out front. Finds Spencer. Spencer fires a shot, but they blow a whistle before the goal. Shooting space violation on Georgetown, which will give Spencer a free position opportunity. One of those rules in women's lacrosse, even though you score, it's still a foul. So Spencer has an opportunity to try and put the Wildcats on the board. She moves in, fires a shot, stick saved by Formby.
So we've seen early how great the senior goaltender for Georgetown is, making multiple stops on the Wildcats' first possession, keeping them off the board.
And now Georgetown with possession for the first time in the ball game, moving right to left. As Logan McCraw has it in the midfield, being picked up by Dowd. The Wildcats will pressure every opportunity the opponent has to try and clear it as McCraw moves it into the Northwestern attack zone. Molly Ford, the second-team All-American, has it in the near corner, being picked up by the junior Colleen McGarity. Ford trying to get by McGarity, has it knocked away. McGarity comes up off the cause turnover. Gets it ahead to Matthews, and a whistle is called. And the Wildcats will get it as they're going to give Molly Ford a yellow card, and she'll have to come off for a couple of minutes.
A big loss early on for Georgetown, one of their best players being sent off with a card.
Yeah, Molly Ford loses the ball and then picks up a penalty, has to go to the sideline, so that's a rough way for her to get started as the Wildcats will have the ball when we resume, and we do, as McGarity will send it behind the net to the goalie, Brianne Lamonto, known as Breezy among her teammates.
That's right. When I asked her what she'd like to be called, she said Breezy. That's what she's known by all her teammates, but she's definitely stepped up this year being a starting goaltender.
Big shoes to fill, replacing Morgan Lathrop, a 4-year starter for the Wildcats. As Beatrice Conley into the ballgame now in the midfield, a freshman for the Northwestern Wildcats, as a foul is called on the far sideline. When a foul called in women's lacrosse, the entire defense has to stop moving, and they have to set where they were when the foul was called. As Matthews has it, moving into the fan with a right-handed cradle. She'll dump it behind the net to Dowd, and the Wildcats will set up offense once again. Getting plays from the sidelines, the Wildcat assistant coaches will hold up cards to indicate what plays are being called. As the Wildcats moving it around outside the fan, a errant pass goes out of bounds as Spencer was looking for Ali Casera, the freshman for Northwestern. And on the turnover, Georgetown will get it.
You mentioned Beatrice Conley earlier. She comes from actually Brighton Academy in upstate New York in Rochester. The same school that produced two of Northwestern's biggest players, and Danielle Spencer still on the team, and last year Hillary Bowen, one of the graduates. It's kind of funny. She's wearing number 1, the number that Hillary Bowen wore. Hillary Bowen wore the past 4 years here in Evanston.
Hillary Bowen, a prolific goal scorer for Northwestern, coming back for that championship game last year after suffering an ACL injury, and played and scored a couple of goals.
5 for 5, put all of them back in the net.
As the turnover by Georgetown. Northwestern now on the fast break, trying to get its first goal. Shannon Smith takes a shot, but Formby stops her once again. However, a whistle was called as Smith got pushed from behind on the shot. And I believe it's going to be another free position opportunity for Northwestern. And so far, they've come up short on 8-meter shots, 0 for 2.
Yeah, Formby's been very impressive. We talked about it in the pregame. A strong goalkeeper, keeping the Wildcats off the board about the first 5 minutes into the game.
So it'll be Shannon Smith now with an 8-meter opportunity. She moves in, takes a shot, and Formby again stops her. This time, Shannon Smith tried to bounce it in, and Formby came up huge. Still scoreless, about 5 minutes into the first half, Northwestern and Georgetown. As McCraw will try and clear it, trying to slice through that Northwestern forecheck, you could say, as McCraw gets it across midfield. She'll try and dump it off, but it's taken away by Northwestern. Sarah Harrington comes away with it. But Georgetown has not been able to set up any kind of offense, as Northwestern's midfield game has really stifled the Georgetown attack. As Harrington now in the attacking zone, defender coming up. She'll dump it off to Shannon Smith, and Harrington will retreat.
Shannon Smith, one of the tremendous sophomores on this team, expected to step up, and so far she has, with 14 goals so far in that first game against UMass. Katrina Dowd did not play, but Smith picked up with, I think it was 9 points in that game. The 7th Wildcat in school history to score 9 points in one game.
She has been outstanding for the Wildcats early on, as Smith is the one to have it right now. In front of the restraining line, gets it to Brooke Matthews. Now it's Katrina Dowd. On the far side of the field, she'll dump it back behind the net to Kim Pantages. And now Danielle Spencer has it. She'll try and set up the offense. It's Vigmestad. Sends a pass in the middle for Matthews. Matthews gets hit, spins around. A foul is called. And was the foul called inside the 8-meter arc? That'll determine whether Matthews gets a free position opportunity. It looks like she's going to. The Wildcats with their 4th free position opportunity early on in this ball game. They're 0 for 3 as Caitlin Formby has come up huge. Matthews moves in, trying to take a shot, and she gets smacked again. And so Matthews will have another opportunity at it. This time a little more centered than the last one. Now they'll move her back toward the corner of the 8-meter arc. No score early on, as Matthews this time passes it to Spencer instead of taking a shot. Spencer with a left-hand cradle moves into the fan, and she'll bounce back out and set up an offensive play. Georgetown's defense has been pretty good so far. Spencer moves in, takes a shot, and she scores. Danielle Spencer puts the Wildcats on the board 1-0 with 23.5 minutes left in the first half.
Spencer there, using her size, getting to the middle, puts it in for her 10th goal of the year.
Spencer now with 11 points on the season, 10 goals and 1 assist. If you're Georgetown, how do you stop Danielle Spencer when she comes out in front of the crease?
Get set, because Proactive is all new. So if you have a problem pimple or sudden breakout and want fast relief, order now and be among the first to get the new and improved Proactive system. Now faster and gentler than ever before. With your order, you'll get our best-selling refining mask to help zap problem zits overnight.
The refining mask is that extra oomph. You know, it's like I know that no matter what, it's always going to work for me.
Call now and order new Proactive. It's different, thanks to microcrystal medicine that delivers instant acne-fighting results.
I love the new Proactive. It's rich, it's creamy, it's gentle, it's effective.
New Proactive sells for $40, but order now and pay just $19.95. Plus, we'll add our amazing refining mask and hydrating green tea moisturizer for extra healing power and the best skin of your life. Call 1-800-323-6990.
I am very proud of my skin now, and that is something I never would have been able to say before.
So 1-0 Wildcats. It'll be Spencer and Kelsey Bozell to take the draw after the Northwestern goal. Goal coming with 23 and a half minutes left in the first half, and the draw is won to Northwestern as Katrina Dowd picks it up. So the Wildcats have won both draws early on in this ball game as Dowd moves into the fan, now into the 8, looking to shoot. Instead, she'll take it back around the net, passes it out in front to Spencer, takes a left-handed shot, and she scores. Danielle Spencer, back-to-back goals within 20 seconds of each other. And the Wildcats quickly ahead 2-0.
This team can be so explosive. They can slow down for so long, but then just like that, boom, boom, 2-0 Wildcats, just like that.
Not many teams in college lacrosse run the fast break, especially off of a draw like Northwestern. Caught Georgetown almost off guard there.
We talk about Danielle Spencer, her ability to score, but also her size in the draw control circle. Very effective there. Getting a clean win right into the fast break. The Cats are able to capitalize just like that, 2-0.
It'll be Shannon Smith taking the draw this time, as some stick checks going on outside the midfield circle. Sophia Thomas was getting her stick checked, as well as Amanda Macaluso, the freshman for Northwestern. So it'll be Smith and Bozell to take the draw this time, as Spencer bounces out of the circle for the first time. And Smith wins the draw right to herself. So the Wildcats again on the fast break. Sending it ahead to Katrina Dowd. She'll try and track that one down behind the net, as Smith's pass was a little too far for Dowd. And the Wildcats will set up an offense once again as Dowd moves into the 8, has it knocked away, and a whistle is called in front of the net. Georgetown has not had a shot on goal, really hasn't had possession. The only time was Molly Ford in the corner. She lost it and then picked up a card.
Northwestern definitely dominating possession. They were looking to push the fast break there, not able to, but they'll still have control of the ball in a second here.
Yeah, Katrina Dowd has it. She'll send it back up top to Shannon Smith. The Wildcats in the midfield so strong, and it's impressive, Justin, because they lost a lot of players in the midfield, but they've really controlled the midfield game early on. As Macaluso is knocked down. That was a hard foul on Georgetown. It was Sarah Seitz that knocked her down, and that's going to be a card on Sarah Seitz, the senior attacker from Baltimore, Maryland. So she'll have to run off the field.
What's interesting, Andrew, watching the women's game and how different it is from the men's game. The men's game being a lot more physical, a lot more contact, whereas you were seeing a lot of whistles early on in this one.
Georgetown trying to beat Northwestern in its own physical game. Northwestern probably the most physical of all the women's lacrosse teams in the country. As a whistle on Macaluso. And it's going to be a turnover on Northwestern. I believe Macaluso jumped a little bit too early, and a turnover for Northwestern. So Georgetown has it trailing 2-0, 22 and a half minutes left in the first half of action. It'll be Sophia Thomas running down the near sideline and trying to set up an offense for Georgetown as they now send it back to McCraw on the other side of the field. McCraw will send it ahead for Bozell. And now Georgetown trying to go into some sort of offense against this attacking Northwestern defense. Bozell will send it in the far corner, being picked up by Taylor Thornton, the freshman midfielder for Northwestern. And now it's McCraw being hounded by Rachel Fox. In the far wing for Georgetown, it's Bunny O'Reilly, and she gets knocked down by Taylor Thornton. That's going to be a foul on Northwestern.
You talk about Thornton, one of the freshmen you've seen a lot of playing time early on. Comes from Dallas, Texas, actually. Not just like the hotbed for women's lacrosse.
Not so much.
But most of these players from the East Coast, but Kelly able to dig up a diamond in the rough down in Dallas, Texas.
It's Thomas. Now up top to McCraw. McCraw trying to move in. Georgetown has not even been able to really get it into the fan against this Northwestern defense. And the Wildcats always extend that defense well out to the restraining line. It's Aaron Lovett. Sends a pass in front. Can't handle it. It's still loose in front of the net, and Lamonto chases it down. Pretty good opportunity as Bozell was free in front of the net. She could not come up with a pass, and Northwestern able to force a turnover as Lamonto now being hounded back behind the goal, knocked away by Kier, but a whistle is called, and Lamonto is going to retain possession.
They're ready to even bump the goalie back there, Andrew.
Playing very physical early on, and that's kind of what you have to do against Northwestern because they will play very physical. A lot of that coming from Scott Hiller, volunteer assistant coach for Northwestern and the husband of Kelly Amante Hiller, bringing a lot of elements of the men's game into the women's game. And Northwestern has certainly adhered to a lot of those principles as the Wildcats trying to clear it now. Taylor Thornton, one of the fastest players.
Wow, look at her go.
Not just on the team, but on the field right now as Thornton brings it into the Georgetown attack zone. Thornton will send it to Rachel Fox up top. Now Jessica Russo in the far wing. 2-0 Wildcats. About 10 minutes gone by in the first half. Number 1 versus number 5 here in Evanston at the Lakeside Field. It's Katrina Dow, Lacey Vigmestad, and Jessica Russo passing it around the perimeter. Just checking into the ball game, Brooke Matthews and Danielle Spencer in the far corner. It's Thornton behind the net. Pantages, now Brooke Matthews and Vigmestad. And Georgetown trying to pack in its defense a little bit. Not let Northwestern cut in as Vigmestad has it knocked away, picks it back up. Is it better to try and pack in your defense if you're playing against Northwestern and try and hound this perimeter passing Northwestern attack?
Well, so far they've kind of packed it in there, and really, with a great keeper behind them making the saves, I guess maybe packing it might be the strategy that's working so far for Georgetown.
As Danielle Spencer trying to get free, she'll send it back behind the net to Katrina Dowd. And Dowd now will move past her defender in front of the crease, takes a shot, and a whistle is called. Before Dowd could get off a good shot, she was bumped. I believe they're going to call shooting space on Georgetown.
We've seen a lot of whistles in this game, but in that game the other night against Stanford, apparently Northwestern had multiple goals called back on calls by the refs. But here the calls seem to be favoring the Cats. They've had multiple free possession shots.
It'll be a free position opportunity, not for Katrina Dowd, but for Kim Pantages from the 8-meter. Pantages takes a bounce shot, knocked away by Formby. It's loose inside the 8-meter, and Katrina Dowd comes away with it. Formby has come up huge time after time early on in this ball game. Could be about 5 or 6-0 if not for Formby. As Dowd's pass in front to Pantages. Quick stick and a goal. 3-0 Northwestern. Kim Pantages finds the back of the net off a beautiful pass from Katrina Dowd. And the Wildcats extend the lead with 18:44 left first half.
The senior-to-senior connection. Kim Pantages hasn't been the biggest star, but this year should be expected to play more as a senior attacker. Beautiful quick stick there. We see Katrina Dowd's ability to dish the ball. Nice pass, nice feed, nice score. Cats up 3-0.
And a timeout called by Georgetown as the Hoyas have found themselves trailing.
It's Penn. University of Pennsylvania is actually the last team to beat the Wildcats back in 2008 during the regular season. And they had a rematch in the championship game, which they won. And since they're playing Northwestern, we mentioned the streaks. 54 in a row at home and 32 wins overall in a row.
As Georgetown won possession off the draw after a foul was called on Danielle Spencer. And the Hoyas yet to get a shot off. 12-1 in fouls in favor of Northwestern, meaning Georgetown has committed 12 fouls, so 1 called on the Wildcats, now 2 after the Spencer foul. As Mary Beth Brophy moving into the 8-meter arc, takes a shot, and she scores! Just like that, Brophy able to cut through the entire Northwestern defense and beat Lamonto, and Georgetown is on the board as they cut the Northwestern lead to 2.
Well, that's really the first real scoring chance the Hoyas have had. They're able to capitalize. A nice low shot to the corner, the hardest part to stop for the keeper, but definitely a great shot there getting the Hoyas on the board.
Brophy, the junior midfielder from Berwyn, Pennsylvania, Archbishop Carroll High School, had an assist in the game against Hopkins, but she scores her first goal of the season, coming right off the timeout for Georgetown, too. Ricky Freed trying to gather his troops and calm them down after Northwestern came up 3-0.
Definitely a good decision to call the timeout, being down 3-0, letting his team regroup, and able to capitalize and make it a 2-goal game.
It'll be Kasner and Spencer on the draw once again, as Georgetown won the last one. It goes way up in the air and won by Georgetown once again. Draw control so important in women's lacrosse, and Georgetown has possession once again. It's Kelly Barnes in the midfield. She'll dump it off to Keir, Jordan Keir, moving into the fan, being hounded by Colleen McGarity. Spins back out, darts out of the fan, now back in. McGarity stays with her. It's Kasner now, near the restraining line. Kasner beats her man, moves into the 8-meter arc, and sends it back behind the net. It's Jacqueline Giles sending it near side to Brophy, who scored the last goal for Georgetown. 17:15 left first half, 3-1 Northwestern, as Brophy gets shoved by Conley. And now Brophy will have a chance. She'll send it back behind the net to Giles. Giles moving into the fan, now into the 8, but sends it back up top to Kasner. Kasner moves into the 8, takes a shot, saved by Lamonto.
Nice save by Breezy back there between the pipes. De Hoya got a step there, but Breezy there making the big save to keep it at 3-1.
Lamonto, a nice stick save as Kasner tried to go up high as the pass is mishandled by the freshman Aaron Fitzgerald, and then Fitzgerald and Shannon Smith sandwich McCraw, and that's going to be a foul called on Northwestern. It will be Georgetown possession.
We talked about this before the game, but you see Aaron Fitzgerald, the freshman, wearing number 7.
So weird to see someone else wearing number 7.
The number 1 by Hannah Nielsen the past 4 years. I mentioned, you talk about LeBron James wanting to give up 23 and hire Michael Jordan. Well, really, Hannah Nielsen in many ways is the Michael Jordan of women's lacrosse here, but really Northwestern, they passed on that jersey to Aaron Fitzgerald. He has big shoes to fill wearing number 7 for the Wildcats.
And she's played pretty well to start the season for Northwestern. As Georgetown has possession, trailing by 2. It's Keir on the far sideline being guarded by Maggie Bremer, one of the best man-on-man defenders that Northwestern has to offer. As Kasner has it at the top of the fan, picked up by Fitzgerald. Now far side, moving in, taking a shot, and a goal for Georgetown. It's Bunny O'Reilly who puts the lead at 1 for Northwestern, 3-2 with 15:52 left in the ball game, or in the first half, excuse me. So Bunny O'Reilly moving in, and both times Georgetown has just sort of sliced through this Northwestern defense and put one right by Lamonto.
There's some fans who might be a little surprised we've seen these big blowout boxers. We talked before, Georgetown is the best team Northwestern has faced so far, being a top 5 team. Really, they've been taking advantage of the last 2 draw controls, getting the possession down there, and clean shots, but not much Breezy could do there.
Seems like Northwestern has struggled a little bit to help out, as one attacker has gotten by her defender and has been able to get in and get a pretty good look at the goal. So it's now 3-2 as this game has tightened up after the Georgetown timeout. Northwestern hasn't had much by way of possession since that timeout, as Danielle Spencer will take the draw against Kelsey Bozell, and a whistle and another foul called on Northwestern.
Spencer
and Georgetown
not
will get
happy.
possession once again.
Spencer not happy with that call.
Spencer has struggled the last couple of times at midfield. So now Georgetown with a chance to come down and tie this ball game, trailing by 1. As the Wildcats pressure on the clear attempt. Its pass is mishandled by Ashley Hunter, but it's picked back up by Georgetown. And moving in, it's Bozell at the top of the fan, picked up by Thornton, moves into the 8. Now darts back out as she falls down. Moving in, taking a shot, it goes wide of the net. A whistle was called. Aaron Lovett missed wide, but the official blew that one dead before the shot, and I believe Lovett's going to have a free position opportunity. 8 meters away from a tie ball game, halfway through the first half of play. Lovett moves in, fires a shot, bounce shot, but a whistle before she was able to put it past Lamonto. Shooting space violation on Northwestern. And so even though Lovett scored, she's going to have to try and do it again, as Sarah Harrington will move out of the 8 meter. Lovett beat Lamonto with a bounce shot, fires another one. This time it's knocked away by Lamonto, but picked back up by Georgetown. So Lovett can't do it twice, and it's still a 1-goal game.
Lucky break there for the Cats, keeping it 3-2.
As Bozell fires a pass to Lovett, off the post, bounces out. Lucky break by Northwestern, as Lovett had a really good opportunity right there, found the post, and it's still a 1-goal game.
Take a look there at Brianne Lamonto. When I asked, I guess, Kelly Montejo about the differences between the goalies this year and the past, she said really Morgan Lathrop used to rely on her athleticism, where maybe these goaltenders are more technically sound.
Morgan Lathrop used to take a lot of chances, especially trying to intercept passes and that sort of thing. That's what made her so great. As Bozell moves in, takes a bounce shot, and she scores, and we are tied up. 3 consecutive goals by the Hoyas, after Northwestern moved out to a 3-0 lead. And we are all tied at 3 with 14.5 minutes left in the first half.
But women's lacrosse, from all the games I've seen, this is a game of runs. Teams be able to put together, string together goals back to back just like that. Never really out of it in this game. So really, Georgetown able to capitalize, gain possession, putting 3 behind Brianna Lamonto to tie this one up.
Bozell, the freshman from Hunt Valley, Maryland, she has played very well in her first game against #1 Northwestern, her second goal of the season, as she scored one against Hopkins in the season opener for the Hoyas. Off the draw, Katrina Dowd comes up with it. It's knocked away, but a whistle is called before Georgetown could regain possession, and it'll go to Northwestern. So now the Wildcats finally winning a draw, trying to get back on top after surrendering 3 straight goals. It'll be Dowd when we resume with possession. The left-handed cradle moves into the fan, looking to shoot, fires a shot past Formby, and she scores. Katrina Dowd, just like that, the answer for Northwestern, and the Wildcats back up on top 4-3.
It's the senior Katrina Dowd responding. We said the draw control is so vital in this game. Getting possession off that draw, Northwestern able to capitalize very quickly. Katrina Dowd, her 11th goal of the year. When she's not playing against UMass, that's 11 goals through 2 games and about 15 minutes in this one. So, like you talked in the pregame, she's a tremendous scorer. Had 76 goals last year, and she'll maybe top that in 2010.
Dowd with her second point of the ball game, already with an assist early on. And she adds a goal to put Northwestern on top right when the Wildcats really needed it, after Georgetown had scored 3 straight. It'll be Shannon Smith and Bozell taking the draw, as Smith trying to come up with it. A scramble at midfield, and Katrina Dowd comes away with the draw control, trying to run the fast break for Northwestern. Right-handed cradle moves into the fan, and she will head back behind the net to try and set up an offense for the Wildcats.
So interesting, got it, I guess.
Oh, Dowd, a pass out in front to Shannon Smith, a quick stick and a goal. What a find from Katrina Dowd, as Shannon Smith was left all alone right behind the crease. 2 quick goals for the Wildcats, back on top 5-3.
I was just about to say how interesting it is this year. No Hannah Nielsen operating behind the net, but there we see Katrina Dowd stepping in with a nice feed over the top to Shannon Smith, the sophomore, banging it home, just like that, 5-3.
After school, my dream job is to be a 3rd grade teacher. Inspiring confidence in a child is definitely a hard thing to do. I think I'll be a good teacher to little kids because even on the court, I always have a smile on my face. Little kids look up to that, and I think that I can teach these kids a lot of things that I learned from athletics. Big life, big stage, Big Ten.
Left in the first half, the Wildcats on top 5-3, as Smith again wins the draw for Northwestern, and she's really solidified this draw situation for the Wildcats, who are struggling, though Smith then turns it over, trying to find Macaluso on the pass across the field, and the Hoyas will now try and clear it up. As McCraw has it, sending it into the midfield for the Hoyas. Now far sideline. It's Katie O'Brien. O'Brien passes it in the middle, as Lovett now will set things up for the Hoyas. Gets by her defender, moves into the fan, now back out. She will send it on the near wing to Giles. Giles moves in. Now it's Molly Ford. Haven't heard Ford's name much in this ball game, as Sophia Thomas has it knocked away by Thornton. Picks it back up. Up top, it's O'Reilly. Bunny O'Reilly already with a goal in the game for the Hoyas. Being chased around and tripped up by Rachel Fox. That's going to be a foul on Fox, and the Hoyas will keep it.
Fox, a junior on this team, really hasn't seen that much playing time the past few years, but this year, I guess, with the key losses, she'll see more time in the midfield for the Wildcats.
Yeah, one of the players, Kelly Montehiller, said needed to step up this year. As Thomas has it, sends it across to Lovett. Lovett gets by Fox, moves into the 8, now back up top. And a whistle is called. And they'll try and set things up. It'll be now a free position opportunity for Lovett, and shooting space violation by the Wildcats. And so Lovett will have a chance to bring this lead back within 1. Lovett from dead center, working on Lamonto, the goalie for Northwestern. Lovett takes a bounce shot, misses wide, but it's backed up nicely by Georgetown.
Right into the snow back there, cleared off.
Kind of weird to see snow still on the ground for a spring sport like lacrosse, but winter still has not really departed Evanston, even though it's been a little warmer as of late.
We've gone above freezing, or above the 32-degree mark.
That's the milestone that we use to know when winter is loosening its grip. As a pass is knocked away by Maggie Bremer, and picked far sideline is Northwestern senior defender. Gets it ahead to Dowd across midfield. Now Dowd has it knocked away. Nice play by Georgetown in the midfield. And here come the Hoyas. Ahead, it goes to Molly Ford. A 2-on-1 opportunity for Georgetown. Ford passes ahead to Giles. Takes a shot off the crossbar. Lamonto was bailed out by the crossbar right there. Georgetown cannot convert on the 2-on-1 and then turns it over behind the net.
You don't see so many clear odd man rushes like that. 2-on-1, and hit the pipes. We've seen some lucky breaks for the Cats. There's a second shot we've seen clearly hit the pipe for the Hoyas.
So the lead's still 5-3 after the turnover. Northwestern has it. A really nice odd man break by Georgetown, just could not finish in front of the net, and it's still 5-3 as we are coming up on 10.5 minutes left in the first half of play as Vigmestad has it across midfield for Northwestern. She will send it far sideline to Sarah Harrington, senior defender for the Wildcats, and Harrington is slashed as she was trying to cross the restraining line, and a foul is called on Georgetown.
Just saw before Taylor Thornton, again, the freshman. We see her speed there, taking the ball through the midfield. Raving about her speed this year. We're talking about Brooke Matthews being one of the fastest players on the team, but Taylor Thornton may be a little quicker.
I didn't think I would ever see someone faster than Brooke Matthews down the field until Taylor Thornton came to Northwestern, and she is really, for a freshman, just so quick up and down the field as now the referees are congregating around the restraining line, trying to figure out exactly what the situation was, as Harrington on the far sideline was slashed across the head, it looked like. So not exactly sure what they're trying to figure out here.
As we see in a lot of other sports here at Northwestern, a lot of players against redshirting, particularly football, lacrosse with Kelly Montello, she throws them right into the fire. These freshmen are going to play. They're highly talented recruits, and they're going to play right when they get to Evanston. And we've seen that definitely in this game and early on this season. A lot of these freshmen seeing playing time early, getting acquainted to the college game.
It's been interesting to see the evolution of recruiting for Northwestern. Before they would recruit athletes, and Amante Hiller would turn them into great lacrosse players, and now she's getting some of the finest lacrosse talent from high school, and she has more refined players to work with, and it's helped your point in being able to put players right out there as freshmen and have them contribute. But the Wildcats have it. It's Brooke Matthews moving into the 8 with the left-handed cradle, takes the shot, hits the crossbar back out to Northwestern. Pantages picked it up, and then a whistle inside the 8-meter. A nice move by Matthews, taking a left-handed shot, and she found the top post.
We just talked about her speed there with a great burst to get the clean shot, but lucky break for the Hoyas.
Pantages will have a free position opportunity as she was bumped off the rebound. Pantages, instead of shooting, will give it to Spencer. It's now Smith behind the net. Smith will try and set up the offense for Northwestern. Her and Dowd have assumed the position that Hannah Nielsen had behind the net as the distributor, but both can obviously score and have done so early in the 2010 season. Dowd now back behind the net, moving in front of the crease, has it knocked away, turns around, takes a shot, but it's in front by Formby, and now Georgetown comes away with it out in front. Nice play again by the goalkeeper Formby, and a whistle is called, I believe, on Brooke Matthews. So the Hoyas will get it. Formby has come up huge time and time again. Can't say enough about the job she's done early on in this ball game to keep it close for Georgetown.
5 saves early on by the Georgetown keeper, really keeping her team in this one. This game could easily be 7-8-3, something like that, but really the keeper has come up big, as you said before. She's really the veteran back there on the defensive end for the Hoyas, and she's really kept her team in this game.
Mishandled pass by Georgetown, and it's taken away by Northwestern. Here's Brooke Matthews, so quick across the restraining line, into the fan, now into the 8-meter, and she just slams into her defender, and they're going to call an offensive foul, I believe, on Brooke Matthews, who came in uncontrolled and knocked down Carly Napora, who was in the way of a freight train coming through. And now the officials will congregate once again, but the one official indicated an offensive foul on Brooke Matthews. And so Georgetown will get it off the Northwestern foul. 12 shots to 8 shots in favor of the Wildcats. 15 fouls for Georgetown and 9 for Northwestern. So that started to even up a little bit after an early 12-1 foul advantage for Northwestern.
Obviously, this game is not as physical as the men's game. We see plenty of contact so far, plenty of calls too.
Yeah, and these girls are not wearing pads either. Really, the only thing are the goggles protecting their eyes. No gloves, nothing of that sort, as the pass went out of bounds. And Northwestern staying with it. It's Katrina Dowd has it, far wing. Now it's Danielle Spencer. 5-3 Northwestern leads. 8 minutes left first half. The number 1 Northwestern Wildcats hosting the number 5 Georgetown Hoyas in an early season matchup of two of the better teams, two of the best teams in the entire country. As Georgetown predicted before the season to win the Big East, right ahead of Syracuse, who Northwestern will face coming up in a couple of weeks out in upstate New York. That's always a very good matchup between Gary Gates' squad and Kelly Monty Hiller's squad. As Katrina Dowd has it, far corner. Northwestern very patient offensively as Dowd trying to make a move into the fan. Stays on her feet somehow, cutting back and forth. I don't know how any defender can keep up with her. She continues to cut back and forth. And a whistle is called.
You mentioned that game at Syracuse. Once again, Northwestern has a very difficult schedule. They're going to play all the top teams in the country except for one. Which team is that, Andrew?
Maryland.
Maryland. That's the one team that's not on the schedule. The number 2 ranked team. But once again, they play tons of top 10 teams this year.
Kim Pantages will have a free position opportunity. She fires a shot, knocked away, out of bounds, backed up by Katrina Dowd.
Looked like she was hit there from behind and they were shaking off her hand there.
Maryland and Northwestern have not met too often in the regular season. Has happened, but for two of the better programs, really have stayed off the schedule. And, of course, some interesting history with Kelly Monte Hiller in Maryland. That's where she played her college years. As Shannon Smith moves out in front of the net. She bounces a shot. It's blocked away by Formby and out top, and a whistle is called.
Nice kick save there. Again, Formby really keeping the Hoyas in this game.
Shannon Smith right in front of the net had a very good opportunity to give Northwestern its 6th goal of the game, but the lead stays at 2 with under 6.5 minutes left in the first half. As Northwestern will have an opportunity, and the refs trying to make sure everyone is where they need to be on the foul. As the Wildcats lined up outside the fan, and moving in is Conley. She has it knocked away. Scoop back out, and it's taken by Kasner and the Hoyas.
We talked about Kelly Montehiller having played her college ball at Maryland. She won 2 championships there, which started a string of, was it 7 in a row?
7 national championships in a row for the Terrapins in the 90s.
So we look at the Cats with 5 in a row, but really
Still have a lot of
7.
work to do to get there. Pretty unbelievable number. And Kelly Montehiller, she knows that number, and she wants to get there.
Actually, last year I had an interview with Ricky Freed of the Hoyas, and he told me really what Kelly's done now is more impressive. The competition all around the country has gotten better, so really Kelly and Northwestern's streak of 5, according to the Georgetown coach, is even more impressive than what Maryland did during the 90s.
And Kelly Montehiller will tell you everyone's gunning for Northwestern. They all know the streak. They all have been beaten by Northwestern at some point. As Georgetown trying to get back into this, they would love nothing more than to end Northwestern's 54-game home winning streak. And staying with it, they are only down by 2 as Kelly Barnes has a free position opportunity from the left side of the 8-meter arc. Lamonto is ready between the pipes. And Georgetown will not take a shot. They'll send it around. It's Molly Ford. Ford sends it way up top to Barnes once again. Barnes giving it near side to Giles. Giles behind the net to Brophy. Brophy already with 1 goal in the ball game. She is working on Taylor Thornton. It's up top, Barnes. Barnes working on Harrington. Barnes makes a move with the left-handed cradle. Now back to the right side. She'll send it far side to Kasner. Kasner picked up by a double team. She'll send it up front. A shot, and it's knocked away up top by Lamonto. Nice play by Brianne Lamonto as Kathleen Dwyer was all alone in front of the net. Now Ford spins around out in front of the crease, has it knocked away, and a whistle is called before the ball bounced back behind the net.
Molly Ford, really the prolific goal scorer on this team, has been quiet so far, in part due to the penalty earlier that sent her to the sidelines, but really Northwestern has been burned by her so far. Hopefully they can continue with that.
Well, now Molly Ford has a free position opportunity, dead center against Brianne Lamonto. Ford, with no goals in the ball game, takes a shot, bounces it over the net. It goes out of bounds and backed up by Northwestern. Shannon Smith was back there, and the Wildcats get it. Ford's first shot on goal is for naught.
I thought for a second I was going to talk too soon about keeping her off the board, that free shot there, but Cats get a break and he bounces over the net and gets possession back. And here goes Thornton.
Thornton, the fastest player probably, so we've been told, on this Northwestern team. I'd like to see her and Brooke Matthews race and see who would win that one from one end of the field to the other. But Thornton gets it across as Pantages is shoved. Ford had 6 goals in that game against Hopkins and an assist as well. 55 goals and 17 assists last season for the Georgetown Hoyas. She's been kept off the scoreboard. Northwestern's defense, except for a couple minutes where Georgetown came back, has really stifled this Hoya offense.
Just flat out dominating possession. We've been looking to our right most of the game, but most of the action in the Northwestern offensive zone like we expected.
Yeah, the fans sitting on the Georgetown side of the field have had to strain their necks for most of the game. Of course, that'll switch in the second half. Good crowd out here for a early March lacrosse game. Northwestern community really supports this women's lacrosse team as Dowd has it behind the net. Spins around and a whistle is called. 3:20 left first half, 5-3 in favor of Northwestern. The number 1 Wildcats hosting the number 5 Hoyas on the Big Ten Network.
There we see the crowd still a little bundled up. Still only early March, still pretty chill out here, but
Especially right along the lake.
definitely a decent crowd for the home opener.
It'll be a free position opportunity for Lacey Vigmestad, who has 2 goals in the early season. Spending most of the year last season on defense, now more a midfielder as Vigmestad moves in, takes a shot, and she scores! Beats Formby with a bounce shot, and the Wildcats have answered the 3 Hoya goals with 3 of their own. It's now 6-3 in favor of Northwestern.
Just like that, Lacey Vigmestad surpasses her total from last year with 2, with her 3rd goal of the year we talked about earlier. Clay Montehiller moving her up to the midfield, so she's obviously going to have more chances in the offensive zone. There she capitalizes. Lacey Vigmestad being one of those 4 players on the Team USA who plays for Coach Ricky Freed, so scoring in front of her Team USA coach there. Maybe a little more playing time in that team.
Yeah, at one point he'll want Vigmestad to be doing that, but certainly not right now. So 3:17 left first half. What does Georgetown need to do heading into the break to try and keep this one close?
Obviously, the draw control here will be very key so they can even get one more, get a little possession going. Molly Ford, be more active back in the game. So the key will be the draw control here. So Northwestern's going to win. They're going to look to push, get the fast break, get another one. But so this draw control will be key. If Georgetown can get it, maybe they'll be able to set up their offense and try to cut this back to a 2-goal game before the half.
15 shots for Northwestern to 10 Georgetown shots as referees checking the sticks of Sarah Seitz and Brooke Matthews to make sure that the pockets are okay. Women's lacrosse pocket can't be so deep that the ball is not in line with the frame of the stick, the head of the stick. Unlike the men's game where the pockets are very deep, which really limits what you can do offensively. Harder to take some shots from farther along. It's a little more difficult to be accurate with the shallower pockets. Georgetown will win the draw, just as you said, something the Hoyas need to do, try and set up an offensive play here. Trailing by 3 once again. It was 3-0 Northwestern, then it was 3-3, and now it's 6-3 after 3 Northwestern goals. Kasner brings it across, gets it ahead for O'Reilly. O'Reilly near side to Brophy. Brophy picked up by Vigmestad. Back up to O'Reilly. Moving in on Jessica Russo. Sends it to Kier in the far corner. She's met by Colleen McGarity. Trying to get past McGarity. She will underhand pass it to Kasner. Kasner has it knocked away by Kelly Barnes, but a foul on Katrina Dowd. Outside the fan will give Barnes a little bit of space to work with as Dowd has to move back behind her. 2:14 left first half. 14 fouls for the Wildcats and 19 fouls for Georgetown. We have seen a lot of stoppages in this first half. Both teams playing very physically. as the pass is errant for Georgetown, and the Hoyas will turn it over as Brophy could not handle the pass. And so Taylor Thornton, with 2 minutes left, will try and start a Northwestern run here as the Wildcats try to add one more before the end of the half. Thornton has no trouble getting by Brophy
Just
on the
like
near
that.
sideline. And gets into the Georgetown attack zone. Past Kasner. Kasner knocks it away from Thornton, though, and a nice play by Kasner, sending it well ahead to Keir. Georgetown has a 3-on-1. McGarity, the only one back. Keir moves in, has Ford. Ford in front of the net, takes a shot, and she scores.
We saw earlier the 2-on-1 break hit the pipe, but there, Georgetown able to capitalize off the odd man rush. Very uncharacteristic of Northwestern, not being able to get back. I don't think Kelly Mountain Hill is going to be happy with that one, having such a clear 3-on-1 coming in like that. It will make it a 6-4 game.
Can't say enough about the job Ashby Kasner did on the Georgetown end to start that fast break.
But definitely that cause turnover back on the Northwestern side of the field. You know, that's the little play that set up the goal down the end. Big play by Georgetown, able to capitalize quickly off that turnover.
And the Hoyas have been unable to capitalize on a couple of opportunities, but when you put Molly Ford in front of the net, doesn't matter how good your goalie is, she knows how to score as she finds the back of the net for her 7th goal of the season. And it's now 6-4 in favor of Northwestern. So Georgetown doing what you said they needed to do before the half to try and keep this one close heading into the break.
Northwestern with a minute 33 left on the clock. They got plenty of time to get one, possibly 2 more goals before this will go into the break.
This will be a very important draw control before the end of the half. It'll be Kasner and Spencer. Goes up into the air, right into the stick of Katrina Dowd. She can't handle it, though. Slips and falls, and Georgetown comes away with it. And then a foul on Northwestern as Rachel Fox brought down Kelly Barnes. So with 1:25 left in the first half, Georgetown has a chance to cut in once again.
Unfortunately for Dowd, just losing her footing, losing the ball, and Georgetown gets the ball back.
Seen Katrina Dowd tying her shoes a couple of times.
The shoe came off early. I think the first play of the game, her shoe did come off. So.
And then she was tying it right before the draw. So maybe needs to get a new pair of cleats. But Georgetown, meanwhile, has it trailing by 2. It's Keir. And the Hoyas looking for a goal before the half to make this a 1-point lead. Keir picked up by McGarity. McGarity hounding Keir well outside the fan. Keir gets by McGarity, though. Sends it back behind the net. It's Molly Ford now, sending a pass up front. It's Keir, sends a pass over her head. Back outside to Barnes. It's Case there now. Picked up by Macaluso. 50 seconds to play first half, and a whistle is called. That'll send Macaluso behind Kasner. 50.8 left first half, 6-4 Northwestern leads. Kasner will start right outside the fan on the near side. They'll send Fox and O'Reilly outside of the crease a little bit before we get going. Fox stops on the foul. It's Seats behind the net, picked up by Fox. Seats with the right-hand cradle, spins around, back behind the net, looking for someone to pass to, loses it. Fox trying to come away with it, and she does. Nice play by Rachel Fox behind the net, and here comes Northwestern, 33 seconds left. Harrington is fouled by Kasner from behind with 31.4.
Big play by Fox, one of those juniors we talked about having to have to step up this year, causing the big turnover. Give the Cats one more chance before we go into the break.
Here's Taylor Thornton, sends a pass to Pantages, can't handle the pass. It's taken away by Georgetown back behind the goal, but stepping out of bounds is Ashley Hunter. And so Northwestern has it with 19.1 left. Pantages has it behind the net. Wildcats looking for one more shot before the half. 12 seconds. It's Spencer. Fitzgerald with the left-handed cradle. She loses it. It's a foul called. And I believe it's going to be an offensive foul on Fitzgerald with 7.4 left in the first half of play. So Georgetown will have the ball before the half. Pass is sent down with 1 second to go. It's O'Reilly, and she's not going to get a shot off before the first half expires. Pretty good first half of action between the number 1 and number 5 teams in all of women's lacrosse. 6-4 Northwestern leads at the half. Justin, your first half impression so far?
Really, the Georgetown keeper, Formby, really keeping her team in this game, making plenty of big saves. We've seen Spencer Smith get chances in high percentage shot areas, but the goalie really come big saves, keeping the Hoyas in this game. Also, the offensive of Molly Ford being out for a little, I think, took Georgetown a little while to get going in offense, but they were able to put 4 goals past Grand Lamonto. But like I said, it was going to be a close game. 2 top 5 teams, with Northwestern with a slight advantage, 2 going to the half.
Take a break here in Evanston. Back for the second half in just a couple of minutes. Northwestern on top of Georgetown, 6-4. Back in about 10 minutes. You're listening to Women's Lacrosse on the Big Ten Network. Checking out Northwestern's #1 ranked women's lacrosse team. A nice turnout for early March. Some of the bleachers completely filled. So now Northwestern will be moving right to left as Danielle Spencer will line up in the circle for the Wildcats to take the draw against Ashby Kasner. Kasner had a really nice first half for Georgetown, starting a fast break that the Wildcats could not get back from, and Georgetown was able to score its 4th goal. This time, however, the draw is 1 to Katrina Dowd in Northwestern, and the Wildcats will try and go to work.
Showing her quickness, splitting the 2 defenders are on the turn. She dodges and dodges a lot in this game.
Jess Russo finds Shannon Smith right in front of the net, and she scores. 22 seconds into the first half, Shannon Smith left alone in front of the crease, and a nice find by Jess Russo, and the lead is back to 3 for the Wildcats.
We just talked about it, Shannon Smith on the Tawori Trophy watch list. One of the sophomores being called upon to step up this year in her second year in Evanston. Last year she saw plenty of playing time. She's experienced, has the games under her belt, and there, quick scored, big lead, 7-4.
Second goal of the ball game for Shannon Smith, and Jess Russo, she's had an active contribution in the first half of the season. 3 goals coming into the ball game, 6 ground ball pickups, and 2 caused turnovers for the sophomore from Port Jefferson, New York. She's expected to have a big impact in the midfield, showing why there are big expectations for her on that quick goal. So the Wildcats answered the Georgetown goal before the half and extend the lead. They have not led by more than 3 goals. This is as far as Georgetown has allowed them to get out in front. The Wildcats trying to change that as the draw is 1 to Northwestern, picked up by Maggie Bremer, and the Wildcats will go to work offensively again. Draw control is such an important part of the first half. Really seems whoever won the draw control was the next one to score a goal.
So that one time when Northwestern won, they forced the turnover and they got the odd man rush back the way for the Hoyas. And that's right, Andrew, really, draw controls are so vital in this game.
It's Brooke Matthews working it around to Katrina Dowd. Dowd has not had the big numbers in this ball game, but doing a lot of the little things and also adding
3
a goal
assists.
and an assist.
3 assists.
That's pretty good. That's pretty big numbers. As Brooke Matthews fires a shot from the 8-meter arc, and she finds the back of the net. And Brooke Matthews gets on the board for the first time of the ball game, and the lead 8-4 in favor of Northwestern.
First half, Northwestern didn't really get that first goal until about 5-6 minutes in. Here, right off the bat, 2 quick goals to make it an 8-4 game. But don't count the Hoyas out yet. The Hoyas are a very talented team, but great start to the second half for Northwestern. Whatever Kelly said at the break really got them pumped for the second half, and great start to the half now.
How critical now is this point in the game for Georgetown, trailing by 4 at the start of the second half, to not let this one get out of hand?
With this draw control here, Spencer will try to win it again, but they'll really need to win this one, get their offense set, and try to slow down the momentum. That is the juggernaut of Northwestern.
And Stanford last weekend was tied with Northwestern, and all of a sudden the Wildcats rattle off 8 straight goals. So the Wildcats can score quickly and can do it in a way that sort of demoralizes you.
They score quickly in bunches, on streaks. Last weekend, Stanford, what I was told is really, Kelly didn't say anything. It was the girl with the ball right now, Danielle Spencer, got the troops motivated. She is one of the senior leaders, the captain from Brighton in New York. And she takes it in.
And Spencer, left-handed shot off the crossbar.
The cannon. Let it loose
Really
there.
fired that one with the left hand. Just a little too high, but the Wildcats able to recover after the shot. Shannon Smith. It's so tough to fire shots at such a high speed with the way that the women's lacrosse sticks are set up. It's really impressive when you can take a shot from so far away and with such pinpoint accuracy.
I don't think you're going to find a player in women's lacrosse in the country with a harder shot than Danielle Spencer.
Such a powerful frame, such an intimidating figure as a shot out in front and a goal for Northwestern. It's Ali Casera, the freshman from Fairfield, New Jersey. Her second goal of the year, and the Wildcats, 3 early goals in the second half. They lead 9-4. Timeout taken by Ricky Freed and the Georgetown Hoyas.
Just like that, the team scoring in bunches. 3 goals in the first 2 minutes back in the second half. Just what Kelly
Chance
said.
to get out of the library for a little bit.
Well, we're here on the lakeside, and a bunch of students are actually down by our student center at the Northwestern University Student Center for Dance Marathon, probably the main philanthropy event, on campus. Probably have over 1,000 dancers raising money to support. I think it's for homeless children this year.
Yeah,
And
Stand Up for Kids.
Great cause. So, well, we're here on the lakeside. A bunch of the students here are down there at DM, dancing their butts off for 30 straight hours.
They started at 7 o'clock last night as the draw is 1 to Northwestern. 7 o'clock last night. It is now, maybe 2 o'clock here Central Time. So they've been dancing for
A while.
17 straight hours.
Still got 13
And
to
they
go.
still have 13 to go, over half a day left for these dancers. I don't know how they do it, but it's all for a good cause. And you're right, happening just a couple hundred yards south of here, right on the lakeside, as Katrina Dowdy is bumped right in front of the crease, and she'll have a free position opportunity after the foul from Ashley Hunter. So Katrina Dowd with the chance to extend this lead 8 meters away, and instead of moving in to shoot, she'll just bounce it back out. Now she'll move in, keeping it. Good defense by the Hoyas. Dowd with the right-handed cradle, switches over to the left hand. And she'll send it back up top, and the Wildcats will set up their offense. Jess Russo has it between the fan and the restraining line, being hounded by Kayser. Russo still has it, takes a shot, and she scores. Caitlin Formby looked confused. She didn't even see Russo move in, and Russo finds the back of the net. Her 4th goal of the season, 10-4 Northwestern.
That one kind of looked like a softie to me. You talk about Formby being so effective in the first half. Here, she's been peppering with shots early. Just like that, it's 10-4 Northwestern.
And Formby, has played very well, but she's faced 20 shots, and we're less than 3 minutes gone by in the second half. At some point, it was going to give, and Northwestern's attack keeps pushing and pushing, and Georgetown's defense finally has been breaking.
I don't want to call this team a second half team, but really, in the games from last year, every game that I saw, this team really puts on, if they're not out to that big lead in the first half, the second half, they're just going to explode. You see some games against some of the lower competition, they'll come out really fast, then slow down the second half. When it's tight, they'll put the metal to the pedal in the second half and really come out on fire like this half, making it a 10-4 game.
And we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Georgetown sending out a defense that was not the defense of Georgetown last year, graduating a lot of veteran players back for Georgetown. And so a learning experience for Georgetown, who has a very good team and could be very good. Not to say that this game is over by any means, but the defense starting to wear down a little bit under the constant pressure of Northwestern, as another draw won by the Wildcats. And Georgetown has had 0 possessions in the second half as Shannon Smith falls down and is bumped at the top of the 8-meter.
It looked like I saw Danielle Spencer cutting towards the net. It looked like she had the pass there, didn't make it, and it'll slip and end up on the ground.
It's a turnover, an offensive foul called on Shannon Smith. And so now Georgetown will have the ball for the first time in the second half, trailing by 6 after it was just a 2-goal game at the break, as McCraw has it. And she is double teamed by Fox and Pantages. It's knocked away, but a whistle and a foul on Northwestern.
The Cats will apply constant pressure in the midfield there. Good job with the double team by Pantages and Fox. Of course, Georgetown still has the possession.
Fox will have to move back behind McCraw after the foul, as Thomas bringing it across midfield, now into the Northwestern attack zone. A pass in the middle to Bozell. And now Lovett, Aaron Lovett, moves into the 8, looking to shoot, jumps up, takes the shot, and she scores. Nice play by Aaron Lovett, the sophomore from Wantagh, New York, and she gets Georgetown on the board in the second half, and the lead is cut to 5. 25-51 left in the ball game.
You can't count the Hoyas out. We talked about they're one of the top programs in the country, able to respond, cut the lead in half back to 10-5, but we'll see if that burst at the beginning of the half will be too much for them to overcome. Really, they're not out of it yet. A nice response there for Georgetown to get back on the board.
Yeah, really all they needed, as you mentioned, was possession, and they come down and get a goal, but they just have not been able to keep the ball out of the stick of Northwestern, especially on draws.
I don't have a stat in front of me, but it seems probably about a 70-30 possession in favor of Northwestern, definitely through the first half and the first 5 minutes of the second
And
half.
it was interesting. It was only 6-5 in favor of the Wildcats in the first half. Certainly, it's been a bit different in the second half. Northwestern has controlled every draw so far. But the Wildcats winning the ground ball game in the first half, 12-6. Has struggled a little bit free possession-wise. 1 of 6 were the Wildcats in the first half as the draw is being fought for at midfield and picked up by Taylor Thornton in Northwestern, and Thornton gets smacked by O'Reilly. And so Northwestern will get possession once again.
You mentioned those free shots. It was because Formby came up big with making some great saves, some great stops on those free shots. But second half, you see wear down Northwestern able to put 4 behind her pretty quickly.
It's Spencer now in the midfield. Weaves around a couple of Georgetown midfielders. And Spencer staying with it, takes a shot with the right-handed cradle, saved by Formby off the post, and then Formby comes back up with it. Tipped it right off the post, and then she was able to corral it, and here comes Lovett. Ahead to O'Reilly, into the Northwestern attack zone. Georgetown trying to chip away, down by 5. It's Thomas being picked up by Matthews. Thomas gets by Matthews, moves into the 8. Doesn't have a shot, so she sends it back out. Can't handle the pass. It's taken away by Russo. Northwestern now with numbers. A 5-on-4 break as Russo moves it across. Sends a pass to Pantages. Pantages fires a shot. Stick saved by Formby. Nice. And now Formby sends it ahead to Lovett. So some fast break action now as O'Reilly has it. And Georgetown has numbers. O'Reilly moves past Thornton, takes a shot, misses wide, but it's backed up by Keir, and Georgetown keeps it.
See a little more fast pace here, back and forth. Big save by Formby there. Pantages got a good shot off there. Nice stick save.
Seeing how women's lacrosse can really be an open game, a lot of penalties, and we've had 42 fouls in this ball game so far, but on the fast break opportunities, can see some very exciting plays and giving these athletes a chance to demonstrate their talent. As O'Reilly has it, gets it to Keir, and Keir, before she can shoot it, a whistle is called, a shooting space violation on Northwestern, and O'Reilly will have an 8-meter opportunity. She'll go one-on-one with Lamonto. 10-5 Northwestern, 23:48 left in the second half of action. O'Reilly already with a goal in the ball game. Trying to make it 4-goal lead for Northwestern once again. O'Reilly bounces a shot, and she scores. Nice job by Bunny O'Reilly to beat Lamonto, her second goal of the ball game. And Georgetown has scored back-to-back goals to make it 10-6 in favor of the Wildcats. And here comes Georgetown once again. It's Lovett across the restraining line. Keir being double-teamed by McGarity and Thornton. She's got nowhere to go. And she's able to split the 2 defenders, however. Moving into the fence, sends a pass across to Giles. Giles now to Molly Ford. Ford with 1 goal in that first half. At the end of the half, a pass out in front is too high, but a foul called on Maggie Bremer, who hit O'Reilly as she was trying to corral the pass. And now O'Reilly, who just scored on a free position opportunity, has 1 more. This one a little more centered than the last time. Beat Lamonto with a bounce shot just a couple of seconds ago. O'Reilly moves in, and a whistle. I believe someone on Northwestern moved too quickly, and so O'Reilly will get another opportunity. I think Maggie Bremer came in and started a little too fast. So same situation for O'Reilly. Georgetown trails by 4. O'Reilly moves in, takes a shot, misses wide, backed up by Northwestern.
It's the second time in this game we've seen a free shot for Georgetown go in, but one Northwestern Wildcats moved too soon. The game, the goal, second chance, no goal.
It comes back and haunts Georgetown, actually, that Northwestern committed an infraction. But McGarity was back behind the net to keep possession for Northwestern, and now the Wildcats will try and clear out of their own defensive zone as Harrington will send it ahead to Rachel Fox.
Because it's not like football where you can negate the penalty to get them more yardage.
You can't decline, right?
Can't decline.
It's Pantages behind the net. Pantages moves in, sends it back up top to Fox. 22-15 left in the ball game. 10-6 in favor of the Wildcats. Georgetown extending its defense a little bit more than it did in the first half, where they really packed it in and allowed Northwestern to have some good opportunities from about 8 meters away. Now they're extending their defense, and good defense right here by Ashley Hunter on Katrina Dowd. Dowd back behind the net. We'll dump it off to Shannon Smith. Ashley Hunter is still back there. She's really sticking with Katrina Dowd. Danielle Spencer up top. It's a Maria Tedeschi, who we haven't heard much from in this ball game. Now it's Rachel Fox who fires a shot, but Formby is there with a stick save. And Formby, her pass up top to Carly Napora, and she runs into a brick wall in Danielle Spencer, but a foul is called on Spence. 21-13 left in the second half.
I'm pretty sure 6'2" Danielle Spencer is the tallest player in women's lacrosse D1. I could check that, but I'm pretty sure about that.
As far as we know, she is. There might be some other players as they scramble at the midfield, and a whistle, a foul on Georgetown. Regardless of whether she's the tallest or not, she's not someone you want to be running into at full speed.
No, definitely not.
As the Wildcats have possession now, it's Macaluso moving into the fan, and a whistle is called, a foul on Georgetown, as Macaluso was trying to dart out of the fan. 10-6 in favor of Northwestern. We've been at this score for a couple of minutes now after a fast and furious offensive outbreak by the Wildcats to start the second stanza. Spencer moves in, gets a pass to Dowd out in front. Dowd fires a shot inside the right crossbar, and she scores.
Top shelf shot. We've seen a lot of players go low. There, Dowd with the step, fires high, gets it in for the goal. Making a 5-goal game again.
Katrina Dowd, her second goal of the ball game to go along with those 3 assists. A 5-point performance for Dowd thus far. As you mentioned, a 5-goal lead. It's 11-6 in favor of the Wildcats. Northwestern showing why it's the #1 team in the country.
Dowd just so quick there, getting the ball behind the net, able to make the move, get to the middle, get to that high percentage zone and fire. Really tremendous goal scorer for the Cats.
Katrina Dowd showing why she's on the Towards and Award watch list. Won by Northwestern Wildcats the last 4 seasons. 2 by Kristen Shellman, 2 by Hannah Nielsen. So Northwestern, 20 minutes to go in the ball game. Ahead by 5 over #5 ranked Georgetown Hoyas. Northwestern, we talked about the schedule for the Wildcats being one of the most difficult that we can remember in the Wildcats' scheduling history, and they've got some very tough games coming up, as the draw is 1 to Georgetown. Kaser, however, loses it, and Katrina Dowd has it, trying to move in on a couple of Georgetown defenders, and shooting space violation on Georgetown will give Dowd a free position opportunity. So we'll talk about the Northwestern schedule in just a second, but Dowd trying to pick up a hat trick with the free position chance. Moves in, fires a shot, misses wide, backed up by Northwestern. So after this game, the Wildcats host Duquesne on Friday, and that game can be seen on the Big Ten Network, big10network.com, Friday at 3, as the Wildcats will go to work on offense. And then a couple of road games at Syracuse. That should be a tough one, always tough to play in the Carrier Dome against a Syracuse team that is just aching to beat Northwestern. Have not been able to do so lately, as Katrina Dowd moves out in front, tries to fire a no-look shot. She missed high. Dowd is not happy with herself, but it's backed up by Northwestern. Jessica Russo was there. Shannon Smith has it, sends a pass out in front to Dowd. It's too high, picked up by Hunter. Hunter staying with it, fires it up ahead to O'Reilly. O'Reilly trying to start a break for Georgetown. A foul is called on Northwestern. So we mentioned Duquesne, or we mentioned Syracuse, then the first ALC game for Northwestern at Ohio State. Then the Wildcats return to Evanston against #8 Notre Dame, and that's when the toughest part of Northwestern's schedule starts, as Barnes will move in for Georgetown. Kasner to Ford. Ford fires a shot, but Lamonto stones her. Coming up against the All-American, second-team All-American Molly Ford, and Lamonto well up to the task there.
Coach Montehiller, she really didn't name a starting goalkeeper going into this season. Sort of the first game splitting time between Brianne Lamonto and Darby Barise St. Clair. Really, Stanford game, Lamonto played the whole game, and I expect the same today. Really, she stepped up to be that full 60-minute goalkeeper.
Shannon Smith tries to take a shot, but knocked away by the Georgetown defense. Nice job by Carly Napora in there on Smith. And Georgetown regains possession. We mentioned the toughest part of Northwestern's schedule, 3 road games against top 15 teams at Duke, at Penn, and at Penn State.
Before the Penn State game, we'll have an intriguing storyline. We've talked about Hannah Nielsen, the Australian, the wonder from down under, 2-time touring trophy winner. Well, guess what she's doing now? An assistant coach at ALC rival Penn State.
Penn State, one of those teams that has had so much talent the last couple years and has not been able to get it together, and they have not made the tournament in quite some time. Perhaps Hannah Nielsen going down there and instituting some elements of Northwestern's program, trying to turn it around.
When I spoke to Nielsen last year, so what were her plans after, I guess, graduating? She said coaching was what she would like to do.
Giles moves in, fires a bounce shot, and she scores. Nice job by Giles to beat Lamonto, the 7th goal of the game for Georgetown, and the lead back down to 4 for Northwestern with plenty of time left, 17-18 left in the second half. The draw is 1 to Northwestern.
And you remember that goal that tied it, the Katrina Dow goal, falling away over, falling to her on the ground. I can't even describe that goal. It was amazing. It was a great goal.
Smith fires the shot, saved by Formby.
And then it came back in the overtime. Meredith Frank, one of the seniors from last year, that tremendous class of 09, put away the game winner. The Cats won that one 13-12. We talked about the blowout in the championship game. Hillary Bowen really responding in that game, coming back from injury, and really it was, like we said, that semifinal game was almost like a championship. Once the Cats got past that hurdle of Penn, you knew they were going to be fired up for the championship game against North Carolina. They want to pick up that fifth straight trophy.
And they did, and now they're going for 6. And the season has started out well for Northwestern, 3-0, but this would be the most high-profile win of the young season if Northwestern can hang on against Georgetown. But right now, the Hoyas have the ball, trailing by 4, but still more than half of the time left in the second half. Kasner sends a pass out in front to Giles, and Giles will move it back out. Didn't have anything in the zone. Send it out to Barnes. Barnes picked up by Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald fouled her before Barnes could move in.
I mean, last year winning the 5th straight trophy, the slogans that floated around Evanston were, drive for 5, 1 for the thumb. It was just too easy last year. I still haven't thought of one for this season. For quest for 6, race for 6, but...
Race for 6, I like that. I like that more than the quest for 6. That doesn't really rhyme. Yeah. The race for 6, I like that. Last year, a little multicultural flavor in there. As Barnes has it at the top of the fan. It's Brophy now. Back up top to Barnes. 15:45 left in the ball game. Kasner sending it near side. O'Reilly, nice pass to Kasner out in front, and Kasner finds the back of the net. Really nice play by Georgetown, and the lead is cut to 3, 11-8 Northwestern.
Probably the best offensive possession I've seen from the Hoyas in this whole game. You see passing around the top of the arc there. Then the cutter in the middle. Great setup, great finish by the Hoyas to make it a 3-goal game.
Georgetown's problem in this game has really been possession. They've really done a nice job taking advantage of the possessions that they've had. They've scored 8 goals against Northwestern. And now the Cats find themselves in a ball game. 15:38 left, 11-8 in favor of the Wildcats.
This is a game of scoring in bunches and going on runs, and that's just the Hoyas have done to come back after Northwestern got that rapid-fire start to the second half.
Kasner's first goal of the ball game. 11-8 in favor of Northwestern, and Smith taking the draw against Van Fossen. And they'll redo it after the whistle. Big draw coming up right here. Georgetown trying to keep chipping away. Smith fighting for the draw. It's picked up by Vigmestad, who's being chased by a couple of Georgetown defenders, and Vigmestad gets it back to Harrington, and the draw is won to Northwestern. McGarity sends it ahead to Smith. And now here's Brooke Matthews. Matthews can slice through a defense so quickly and gets it into the Northwestern attack zone, and the Wildcats will set up the offense once again.
Just like that, Brooke Matthews. Look at those wheels go. We talked about her being one of the quickest, fastest players on this team, able to get the Cats set up in the offensive zone.
It's Pantages back behind the net. Under 15 now to play in the second half. Danielle Spencer, Shannon Smith, and Vig Massad. 27 shots in the ballgame for Northwestern, 18 for Georgetown. And the Wildcats, Georgetown had 12 fouls early on and 1 to Northwestern. And now the Wildcats have 29 fouls and Georgetown has 25. Over 50 fouls in the ballgame. Really slowed things down a little bit. A nice pass from Spencer out to Russo, and she is able to find the back of the net, falling down, just sort of scoops it in, and a nice goal by Jess Russo, and the lead back up to 4 for Northwestern.
Said Northwestern wasn't going to have one player take on the role of Hannah Nielsen. Here we saw Danielle Spencer, the senior, back there, setting up the offense, finding Russo, the sophomore, going down. Nice goal, pretty goal there. Back 12 to 8.
The thing about those goals for Northwestern, they practice a lot of crazy shots like that. We've seen a lot from Katrina Dowd, Casey Donahoe, Hannah Nielsen behind the back passes in recent shots behind in recent years. So they work on this sort of thing. Maybe not during practice, but at the end of practice, they'll all line up and try and take some crazy shots. A nice athletic move by Russo.
The thing is, this team has so much depth. You can focus on the stars, but all these girls can score. Like Russo again on the score sheet, so this team is stacked. They have depth, balanced scoring attack, and really they've shown today probably a depth about 5 or 6 different goal scorers. So definitely a balanced attack for the Wildcats this afternoon.
And the Wildcats win the draw once again, leading by 4. Georgetown has really not been able, they've gotten close. They've been down by 2 at the half, but have not really been within range very often in this ballgame, except for 3-3 about 10 minutes into the first half of play.
Northwestern holds on to go to 4-0. It will really be that opening stretch to the second half that really did it. That really kind of sealed this victory if the Cats are able to hold on.
It's Matthews moving into the 8. She meets a couple of Georgetown defenders. And Matthews is going to be called for an offensive foul, and that'll turn the ball over to Georgetown. But you're right, it was 6-4 at halftime. And 4 quick Northwestern goals made it 10-4 in the matter of a couple of minutes. As Georgetown has it, Kathleen Dwyer will give it up to Lovett. Lovett now to Bozell. And a whistle is called, and the referees will sort things out in the Northwestern defensive zone with 13:04 left. In the second half of play in Evanston, women's lacrosse action on the Big Ten Network. It'll be Bozell at the top of the fan. Bozell moving in. She'll give it to Giles. Back out to Bozell. Under 13 to play now, second half. A pass out in front, knocked away, but picked up by Georgetown. It's Keir. And Keir has it. Lovett sends a pass out in front to Ford. Ford moving in, fires the shot, and Lamonto comes up with a stick save.
Big save by Breezy against the All-American. Nice stick save there by the sophomore.
Nice job by Lamonto. Ford's had a couple of chances out in front of the net, and Lamonto has stoned her. And now a whistle as McGarity tried to clear it along the left sideline. And Lamonto has 6 saves now in the ball game against 19 Georgetown shots. And Formby for the Hoyas with 10 saves against 28 Northwestern shots. As McGarity bounces a pass ahead to Matthews. And the Wildcats will set up their offense once again. Very critical point in the ball game for Georgetown. As Dowd moves in, fires a shot. Formby knocks it away with her stick, and Thomas comes away with it.
She wound up there, was looking to put that one past the Hoya keeper, but again, nice save by Formby, keeping her team in it, really. She's really been the star today for the Georgetown Hoyas.
Dowd tried to do almost a sidewinder shot, which is very difficult, as we mentioned, with the shallow pockets in women's lacrosse. The only person I've really seen do that effectively was Allie Josephs, who was a Wildcat attacker a couple of years ago and a great scorer for Northwestern. She was one player who I've seen perfect that sidewinder shot from about 10 meters away. It's so difficult to do that accurately, and now we have a timeout, and we will take a break. 12-8 Northwestern is on top. 11:34 left in the ball game. The Wildcats, number one in the land, trying to hang on. Back with the rest of the ball game right here on the Big Ten.
There's bigger challenges, bigger rewards, but also it means there's a lot of pride that you carry with that, and it's something I'll have the rest of my life. Rowing is very different from what the fans see because from the sidelines you just see this easy flowing boat, but inside you're rocking around, you're getting splashed. It's two different worlds. Big life, big stage, Big Ten.
And the women's basketball team, they bowed out of the first round of the Big Ten tournament Thursday. Joe McEwen's squad losing to the Michigan Wolverines, a team they beat twice during the regular season, but they bowed out in the first round of the Big Ten tournament.
It's a team that is on the rise, but still has a little bit of ways to go before they can get back to where Joe McEwen is used to with with his time at George Washington.
We were watching this lacrosse game today, seeing the powerhouse Claymont Hillers built, sort of being the model for all the teams here at Northwestern, sort of to build off that, to strive for the same type of success, which is big shoes to fill, big shoes to follow what Northwestern women's lacrosse has done. Really, this is the model program of athletics, the success they've had. You know, the football team here has been on the rise. That crazy Outback Bowl game we both were at back in January, but Northwestern athletics as a whole has definitely been on the rise, making their case in the Big Ten definitely in the last few years.
They might be the model. Very tough to win 54 games in a row at home and 32 straight games in any sport, but especially football or men's basketball, where
Definitely.
the talent level is so deep. But if that happens, I think there'll be some very happy Northwestern fans. As Danielle Spencer moving in, she trips and falls, a loose ball out in front of the net, and Georgetown comes away with it. Wildcats leading by 4, 10.5 minutes left in the ball game. Number 1 versus number 5. Here at the Lakeside Field on the Big Ten Network, Andrew Godoff and Justin Schecker here. Thank you for joining us today in our coverage of Northwestern women's lacrosse. The pass across the field goes to Sophia Thomas. Thomas will move in. The Hoyas trying to chip away. They've cut it down to 3 in the second half. Northwestern answered with a goal of its own. Thomas moves in with the left-hand cradle, fires the shot, and she scores. Nice job by Sophia Thomas, slicing through the defense and putting one past Lamonto. And again, the lead down to 3 for Northwestern, and still plenty of time. 10:02 left in the second half.
Again, we've seen multiple occasions in this second half. Ahoy able to slip through the Wildcats defense, get there in prime real estate area, able to fire past Lamonto. Not much she can do there.
Thomas, a freshman from Lutherville, Maryland, went to Maryvale Prep in high school and had an assist and a ground ball in the game against Hopkins, picking up her first career goal in a Georgetown uniform.
Well, that Baltimore area of Maryland, sort of a lot of lacrosse players come from there. Obviously, Johns Hopkins being a model player for the men's game, but even the women's, producing a lot of players, you know, going down on 95, down to Georgetown in the city there, playing for this Hoya team from that Baltimore area.
That's very interesting. Northwestern, really not too many players from the Baltimore area. A lot of their pipeline coming from the Northeast.
From up by Massachusetts, where the head coach, Claymont Hiller, is from. So, also they've had a little school up in Rochester, New York, to produce some talent as well. Danielle Spencer, Hillary Bowen, and actually the freshman Beatrice Conley, and there was that Australian. Also, they went international for one superstar they brought in here.
And Brooke Matthews, one of those players from Baltimore. Also, Kirsten Atkinson from the Baltimore metropolitan area. Besides that, though, not too many players from the Maryland area for the Wildcats.
Mainly Massachusetts and New York, probably.
Upstate New York and Long Island as well. Erin Fitzgerald now moving in. She takes a shot. It's saved by Formby. And Formby coming up huge once again for Georgetown. The lead's still 3 for Northwestern with 9.5 minutes left to play. But Georgetown is obviously, being a DC school, has picked up a lot of players from the Maryland area, all across the metropolitan Baltimore area, and a little bit west and south of there as well. So here come the Hoyas trying to make this a 2-goal game. It's Thomas. She gets it to Lovett. Lovett already with a goal in this half. Now it's O'Reilly. Up top to Bozell. Bozell moves in, met by a host of Wildcat defenders. And so she dumps it off to Kier. Kier working on Bremer, moving in front of the net. And it's shot and a save by Lamonto. Right in front of the crease, Lamonto comes up big. And Northwestern has the ball.
Better job there collapsing to the middle, not giving the Hoya a free lane to the net. Better job by the defense, and then Breezy back there between the pipes, making a good save to keep it a 3-goal game.
Fans getting a little bit antsy, not used to seeing Northwestern playing in tight games here at the Lakeside Field. But Georgetown has played pretty well, and a young team for Northwestern, playing against a good squad. They've shown flashes of greatness, but still trying to get their feet under them a little bit in this young season.
I'm sure you talk to Kelly Montehill, she'll say there's always room for improvement. This team is young. Another part of their mentality is they don't look at it as their 5-time champs. They like to focus on this year's team, the now, the present, and what this team can do in the future, sort of building as the season goes on.
The Wildcats leading by 3, trying to wind this clock down a little bit. Very patient offensively as Russo moves into the 8. She fires a shot. Formby saves it. Scoop shot is up and over. Shannon Smith came in and tried to scoop that one in, backed up by Northwestern.
Don't see that too much, a little quick stick off the rebound, but Shannon Smith got a little too much leverage on the ball, put it over the pipe.
Regardless, the Wildcats keep it. Dowd has it behind the net, trying to work with Smith, who cuts out in front. Doesn't get the pass, and Dowd will back it back out. 7.5 to play. Georgetown's going to have to try and pressure Northwestern as Dowd moves in, and she just bounces one past Formby for the goal. Katrina Dowd with a hat trick now in the ball game, and the lead back up to 4 for Northwestern, 13-9. And now for Georgetown, trailing by 4 with 7.5 minutes left. And they've got to try and score some goals, and losing the draw right there to Shannon Smith not going to help, as Smith trying to create offensively now, gets to Dowd. Dowd inside the 8-meter will back it out. Northwestern will try and kill a little more clock. As Brooke Matthews runs into a couple of defenders, and she's going to get charged with an offensive foul, as Kasener really took the brunt of Brooke Matthews charging in. She was pretty fired up when she came back up off her feet. The Wildcats ahead by 9, clock moving under 7 minutes.
It's still a young team. I mean, maybe in that situation they should have slowed it down, set up their offense, one of their set plays. So Brooke Matthews looking for the fast breakaway, fast-paced goal there, but Georgia gets the ball back with another chance.
McCraw moving in for Georgetown. Out in the corner. She was guarded by McGarity, who slipped and fell. It's Kasener now, picked up by Fox. Well outside of the fan. Pass inside from Kasener, and a shot is saved by Lamonto. Firing a shot is Brophy, and Northwestern comes away with it. Lamonto has made some big saves in the latter part of the second half.
So in the first half, it was Formby really keeping the Hoyas in. The second half, I think Lamonto's played a lot better, making a few big saves to keep this game in Northwestern's favor.
And here come the Wildcats on offense. 6 minutes to play now in the second half. Northwestern might be content to just try and pass it around, but they love to score.
They love
to rack up the goals. And so I would be very surprised if they continued to pass it.
We see one fan in flip-flops. I mean, it's warmer today. I don't think it's warm enough for flip-flops, though, Andrew. I mean,
The thing is, it's all relative. So after going through a winter of 20 degrees, a pass out in front to Dowd. And Dowd fires a shot, and she scores past Formby. Katrina Dowd right in front of the net. No match is Caitlin Formby, and the Wildcats lead 14-9 with 5.5 minutes left in the second half.
What you're about to see will change the way you look at weather. Presenting the revolutionary Rain-X Latitude wiper blades. Many traditional wipers have 6 pressure points that can create uneven pressure and cause streaking. Rain-X Latitude blades contour to hug the windshield for greater visibility and virtually no streaking. So it's like weather never happened. Get the #1 rated Rain-X Latitude blade now at Advance Auto Parts.
Alex Frank has played so well early on in the season. Obviously, Kelly Monte-Hiller and the Wildcat team wants her back as soon as possible, and we don't have any word on her injury or the severity of it, but she makes a big difference, especially in the midfield for Northwestern.
Especially one of the 5 touring trophy watch list candidates, but really, I'd
As
say
a-
the Cats have missed her, but
As a pass from Lovett to Molly Ford right in front of the net, and a goal from Ford beating Lamonto, and Georgetown answers the Katrina Dowd goal. It's back down to 4, the lead for Northwestern.
talking about one of the Wildcats on that watch list. Well, there's one of the Hoyas on the watch list. Molly Ford getting the goal. She's had a much better second half. The first half, the early foul sent her to the sidelines, but she's definitely been more effective getting in the offensive zone this half.
I've really been impressed with the sophomore Erin Lovett today, running the point sort of for Georgetown, playing very well at the top of the fan, dishing, and she's also scored a goal. She has definitely impressed me in this ball game. And Georgetown not giving up, down by 5. They answer with a goal, and still some time left in the second half. 14-10 in favor of Northwestern, and the draw will be 1 to Northwestern as Shannon Smith back out onto the field comes away with it. Big draw won by Smith in Northwestern. 34 shots fired at Caitlin Formby. She has stopped 13 of them. 14 goals for Northwestern, but all things considered, how much time Northwestern has spent down in the Georgetown end as a pass and a quick stick opportunity for Smith, and Smith can't get a good handle on it, but Katrina Dowd is able to come away with it. Frustrating for Georgetown, almost like giving up an offensive rebound in basketball, as the Wildcats were unable to capitalize, but then Georgetown could not get the ball back. And with 4.5 minutes left, the Hoyas see their time running out. Chance for an upset bid. Danielle Spencer will have a free position opportunity from the 8-meter arc. Wildcats have had 7 chances as Spencer wisely sends it back out top to Katrina Dowd.
The senior captain making the wise decision to pull it back out, kill the clock. Only 4:18 left on the clock now. The Wildcats look to just run it out and hold on to this victory.
As Matthews is up top. One of the differences between the men's and women's game is in the men's game have to get into the box within a certain amount of time or else you're called for a penalty and a turnover. In the women's game, you're able to pass it around the perimeter, don't have to make a move inside the box. No sort of delay of game penalty.
And no shot clock like basketball here. So.
Exactly. So the Wildcats can theoretically just pass it around and waste time as much as they'd like to. The Wildcats.
They'll probably want to get 1 or 2 more on the board, though, knowing this team.
Katrina Dowd has it behind the goal. Clock continues to move while the refs try and set things up. As Dowd moving around the net, will send it back up top to Spencer. 3.5 minutes left in the ball game. Spencer moves into the 8, looking to shoot. And instead she will move it back out. Breaks through a double team, fires a shot with the left hand, but Formsby is right there to make the save. Caitlin Formsby, 14th save of the ball game for the Hoyas.
If we're doing 3 stars of the game, Formby would definitely be one representing the Hoyas. Did a great game today against top offense of the Wildcats. Really kept her team in this game all afternoon long.
Yeah, it's funny to think about a goalie that allows 14 goals being the star of the game, but she really has been great. And this could be a lot. The deficit could be much bigger for Georgetown if not for the way Formsby has played. As Keir has it, working on Thornton, trying to make a move, and I think you're going to get a shooting space violation on Thornton.
We talked about Thornton's speed, but also she's a lengthy defender, has some size, long wingspan there. It's hard to get around her as well back in the defensive zone.
As Giles will have a free position opportunity. She'll move in, fires a bounce shot. Lamonto is able to save it, fighting for it now in front of the net. And still being fought for as Maggie Bremer comes away with it and gets it ahead to Brooke Matthews. Nice loose ball, ground ball opportunity for Northwestern, coming away with it as Matthews races ahead across the restraining line and sends a pass to Spencer.
Late in the game, she's still got that great speed we've talked about all afternoon.
Danielle Spencer is bumped by Katie O'Brien. With 2:02 left on the scoreboard, on the clock, and the Wildcats ahead by 4. Facing the number 5 Georgetown Hoyas, who have put up quite a fight here in Evanston.
A lot closer game than last year, being played in D.C. on the Georgetown campus. It was 15-4. So again, the
7-6 though 2 years ago. So maybe Georgetown just plays a lot better here in Evanston at the Lakeside Field as Smith is bumped before she could get a shot off. Put on a nice move, split the defenders, but a foul is called before the shot.
we're talking about fans here are used to seeing the blowouts, but there have been some close games. Last year, the Duke game was very close. That was like Hannah Nielsen broke the record for all-time assists. That was another, I think it was a 12-9 score, something around there, a close game. So Wildcat fans are accustomed to the blowouts, but they also have seen some closer competitive lacrosse games, which is due to this tough schedule the Cats play. They do play the top competition all across the country.
Yeah, Kelly Monte-Hiller not afraid, doesn't want to shy away from the top competition because she says it makes the Wildcats better and prepares them for the NCAA tournament, which is the ultimate goal.
A quote I had an interview with Kelly earlier this year. Coach said, competition is everything in life. Really, I think it's one of her mottos, and she's been a winner, and she loves the competition, and that's why they built 5 national championships in a row.
They're looking for 6. The race for 6, as my partner Justin Schecker earlier informed us that that's the motto that
It's
he has coined.
not the official motto, but
He is your motto. Maybe you didn't come up with it. A little over a minute to play in the ball game. Wildcats ahead 14-10. Georgetown trying to make a late push here, not giving up as an errant pass at the restraining line. And a couple of Wildcats converging on the play. Some physical contact right at the restraining line as Gabriella Fleabot went down. She tripped over somebody and went up in the air. 51.2 seconds left in the ball game as Fleabot fires it down to Shannon Smith. Ahead to Danielle Spencer, all alone, misses a shot wide. But Spencer backs up her own shot, and I think they're going to actually give it to Georgetown. Spencer was not able to back it up. I think they said that Formsby was the closest one to the end line. Spencer all alone in front of the net, unable to convert.
looking for that hat trick. She'll probably be kicking herself about that one in the post game, but great chance there for the Wildcats on a long pass, quick feed to Shan Smith, boom, boom, but Spencer couldn't finish.
The Georgetown gets it back as O'Reilly knocks it out of bounds, and it'll be a turnover, and Northwestern will get the ball. Women's lacrosse many years ago didn't have out of bounds. There were no boundaries, and you just sort of played until the refs deemed it out of bounds. It's sort of homage to the way that the Native Americans who created the game played. Now they have hard boundaries, and so when O'Reilly knocked it out, Northwestern got the ball. Not how it works anymore. 15 seconds to go in the ball game. Katrina Dowd, nice spin move in, tries to go behind the back, misses wide. Rachel Fox picks it up. Wildcats still going to work. Dowd ducks in, puts a shot past Formsby. She scores with 4.5 seconds left in the ball game. 15-10 Northwestern, and the Wildcats are going to improve to 4-0 and win their 55th straight ball game here at the Lakeside Field in Evanston.
And 33rd in a row. That's what we expected today, Andrew. Another Wildcat win.
Credit Georgetown. The Hoyas have not quit this entire game. Did not quit when they went down early in the second half and made Northwestern sweat a little bit. But too much talent offensively for Northwestern.
We'll take a look at Dowd, number 4, with the headband, really stepping up in the second half. Backward pass to where she said, I was going to score it myself then. tried to give a little, didn't work, so she goes out and gets her 5th goal.
Fans starting to file out. Happy Northwestern fans at the Lakeside Field. There's one last draw to be taken before this one runs out, and Northwestern improving to 4-0 on the season. 15-10, they defeat the number 5 Georgetown Hoyas, and the Wildcats on the young season remain unbeaten. 55 straight games won at the Lakeside Field and 33 games won overall for Northwestern. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Big Ten Conference and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Big Ten Conference. So from the Lakeside Field, for Justin Schecker, my name is Andrew Gatto. Thanks so much for watching Big Ten Network's coverage of women's lacrosse from Evanston, and be sure to tune in on Friday for Northwestern versus Duquesne at 3 p.m. It's Andrew Gatto.